optional. Include a personal statement only if it is unique and adds value. I have seen that many students have similar personal statements when shortlisting CVs from one batch, and most are halfly customized ones copied from the internet. Do not do that. The purpose of the statement is to show your strengths and show that you have the right skills for the job. Okay. Education. List your education and qualifications starting with the most recent first, which is your degree. If you completed a course and received a qualification relevant to the job opening, be sure to include it. This added bit of expertise could be the difference between getting an interview and being left disappointed. However, you shouldn't include courses that offer qualifications that are relevant to the job. As a fresh grad, you should give close attention to this section. Include your GPA if you have a good one, since you all will be applying for an entry-level job. First job in most cases. Include your anticipated graduation in the format if you know the math. Right. Employment history. Some of you might have done internships, part-time jobs. Outline your career history, starting with the most recent first. Bullet point your achievements and responsibilities, providing more information for your most recent roles. Begin sentences with verbs rather than writing in the first. Use the action words such as created, designed, debugged, developed, achieved, coordinated when describing your work achievements. So the person who reads your CV can easily understand your skills and experience. However, do not go for lengthy sentences. List metrics and examples. Use data and comparisons or averages to provide the context that you want to explain. As an example, for someone who did an internship in software engineering, maybe you can say increase server query response time by 15% by restructuring an API. Okay, since we have undergrads and fresh grads from different disciplines here, let's get a more generic example. Let's get a social media role. Merely saying that you help increase the number of followers, this is nothing for your chances of getting an interview. Employers want specifics, so include data to support your claims. A good example would be increase the company's LinkedIn page followers from 8,000 to 10,000 within 6 months of taking up the role. All right, I hope you got an idea about that. You may go with this section before education section, but however, for internships and fresh graduates, better to have the education section first unless you have significant experience related to the job role you are applying for. Project experience. If you are to list the academic projects or external projects you did, specify what you did and not what the team you were part of did in a project. Highlight your contribution achievements in the project in bullet point format. If you are applying for a software engineering role, include in your GitHub profile URLs and highlighting prominent open source work you have done can be advantageous. Include the programming languages you used in bold for each project you include. Contributing to the open source community may indicate that you're passionate about coding. Keep in mind, at interviews, you should be able to describe the projects that you have mentioned in your CV. You should be able to explain the flow of it, how that works, especially your final year project and internship project. If you have mentioned URLs to your projects in your CV, make sure they are in good quality. Just by looking at it, interviewer might make judgment about your quality consciousness from alignment to look and feel, whether you are doing something for the sake of doing or you are doing it properly, giving you 100%. Skills. Include your soft skills, relevant training, and spoken languages. But don't list every single technology you have ever worked with, trained on, heard of, or read on the job specification unless you are familiar with it. For software engineering candidates, list the programming languages you are comfortable with. Leadership experience. Your capacity can be easily measured through the CV by your extracurricular activities and projects outside the university coursework and comparing that with your GPA or results. As an example, if you have won awards at the university colors night, if you have represented the university at inter-university games, if you are the chairman, secretary, kind of a leader of some society like Leo, if you are a freelancer, if you have your startup venture, but still, if you are doing good at studies with a good GPA, then the interviewer will know this person has multitasking ability. You can mention about your leadership experiences also in the same format as in the experience section, explaining the accomplishment. Just do not list down member of ABC society. It might not add value. Suppose you are not doing any extracurricular activities. In that case, you don't have to do it for the sake of doing to include the CV. Different people have different capacity levels. It is understandable. Awards and recognition. Include the awards and recognitions that you have received, can be scholarships or any type of award. For IT roles, list down your hackathon and coding competition achievements. Interest, ensure the listed hobbies are interest are brief. Before including any point in your CV, ask the question, will this help me get the role? If the answer is no, take it out. If they don't help you stand out, don't waste valuable space because you have to limit your CV to maximum 2 pages. However, sometimes sports, blogging, those kinds of interests will showcase your versatility, which will be a plus point. So it will be a judgment call you will have to make. Right. That is it about content. Moving on. Once you are done adding the content, it is about presentation of the content. There are a few rules which you always should follow and could increase your chances of success. Use simple and consistent design, font, sizing, and spacing. So the person scanning your CV can find your information easily and quickly. Choose the right font. Use a commonly used for professional font, easy to read. Do not make your CV a nightmare to read by using fancy fonts. The ideal font size is better to use black or dark color. Anyway, other font colors are also okay as long as they are readable. Remember, the hiring manager interviewers will be scanning your CV, so it needs to be nice and easy to read. Use bullet points. They are a great way to draw attention to key facts or relevant information, allowing a hiring manager or interviewers to skim the document and find your significant achievements easily and quickly. So use bullet points with consistent formatting and structure rather than long paragraphs. Give me a minute. I changed my internet connection. Right. Okay. Don't use cliches or idioms. Don't use phrases like team player, hard worker, or detail orient unless these are keywords from the job description. Everyone has them in their CVs and do not make sense most of the time. It is perfectly fine to use industry-specific language. However, sometimes adding technical terms and acronyms to a CV might not be a good idea. Because while it can show off your expertise, you have to remember that the hiring manager, HR professional is probably not an expert in the field and might not have a clue of what you're talking about. Spell check. Check, and then check again. Perhaps this may be the most important tip. Check for typos. Always reread your CV to make sure that you have presented yourself well and there are no mistakes. Where possible, it is also worthwhile getting someone else to have a look into your CV for you, since it can be easy to miss things when you have spent too much time on a document. Spelling mistakes and grammatical errors on your CV will reflect on you poorly. If you are applying for a role that calls for attention to detail or good written communication skills, A CV with spelling mistakes will not do any good. Quality consciousness is one of the traits that the industry expects from fresh graduates. So never rush in to submit a CV that hasn't been reviewed. Adequate spacing. Ensure there's plenty of white space included. If a hiring manager sees a squashed up CV, he or she might not even read it. Arrange in a logical order. Each section should be clearly outlined with clear section. Head is work experience, education, and always make sure you highlight the most recent achievements. Okay. Sorry. Okay, that is it about the presentation of content. Before moving into the final steps, few things I want to mention. Don't lie. Things can be easily checked, and a small untruth could blow your chances of success. Including even so-called white lies is a huge error. Suppose you are deemed to be a suitable candidate. In that case, a thorough background check is likely to take place, and your deception will probably be uncovered. Even if you get the job, there's a strong probability that the lie will eventually come back on you. So never lie. To share an experience, sometime back at an interview, a student was performing well, answering to all the questions. He specifically highlighted that he's learning a specific new technology times. He said that he started a blog to write about that technology as well. It was first like he's passionate, but then the other panelist who was with me Googled for his blog. The blog URL was given in the CV. Then he showed me all his blogs are exact copies of blogs out there, even the images. So obviously we didn't take him. Yeah. You might not have enough content under all the sections in your CV, but line should never be the alternative. And there's another thing you should keep in mind when drafting your CV, application tracking systems. Many companies, regardless of the organization size, use application tracking systems nowadays. Optimize your CV's content and structure to pass through an application tracking system successfully. Let me explain you one of the use cases. Some companies receive large quantities of applications, so they use an ATS to filter out unqualified candidates. This software goes through each CV and looks for relevant phrases and keywords, often used in the job descriptions. CVs are then automatically scored, and passing CVs are sent to the hiring manager or interviewers to review. So maybe this might not be the process some companies follow with the get use of how they get use of ATS. This might be a use case. Anyways, when writing your CV, be sure to use similar phrases and keywords used in the job advert to ensure your qualifications properly reflect the expectations of the role you are applying to. Don't use a complicated template or neglect the keywords in the job application. Both steps, using a simple template, including the keywords from the job advert, are essential in ensuring your CV gets a good score in ATS. Hope you got an idea about that as well. Final step. Name your CV file properly. Name the file with underscore last name underscore position underscore CV, and not as my CV3, CV latest 2021, CV updated. PDF format is preferred. Don't forget the subject line of the email. Check the job description carefully to see if they ask applicants to send emails with something specific in the email subject line. If not, with the position title, posting any reference number if required, your name, and may include the word CV as well. This is important because say they asked to mention the reference number, job reference number in the subject line, and maybe they do a search for the subject line, the reference number. They might search for the reference number and filter out the CVs to shortlist. So your CV will get misplaced if you do not include the reference number. So be careful about how they are mentioning in the job description to send your application. This will not be relevant if you're applying to a website or LinkedIn. All right. In summary, every single point on your CV should repeat and strengthen the fact that you are the best possible candidate. Tailor your CV as per the job advert. Do not lie. If it is not 100% true, leave it off. Stay away from exaggerations. Now, do we have any questions in the chat? No, right? Okay. Now we will be moving on to the next segment, LinkedIn. First things first. You should understand your objective for using LinkedIn. You have to ask yourself what your LinkedIn objective is. Suppose you are joining LinkedIn to communicate with classmates, so follow your fellow Leos from the Leo club. In that case, you are obviously in the wrong place. You will find a few of them on LinkedIn comparison to Facebook or Instagram. However, if you are utilizing LinkedIn for your future career management, then that's the right objective. Every year, thousands of fresh grads all over the country start job hunting. If you are ready to join in, whether it is to look for an internship even, it would be wise to join LinkedIn if you aren't already in. So now the question is, how do you promote your profile among so many other undergraduates? Let's walk through some actions you can take for that. Choose the right profile picture. Your profile picture is your calling card on LinkedIn. Make sure the picture is recent and looks like you. Long distance shots don't stand out. Wear what you like to wear to work and smile with your eyes. Right background photo. The right background photo helps your page stand out, engage attention, and even stay memorable. You can add a picture of something that matters to you in a professional or educational context. Make your headline more than just an undergraduate or fresh graduate. No rule says the headline at the top of your profile has to be a job title or, in your case, an undergraduate or fresh graduate. Use the headline field a bit more about what you want to do, why you want to do what you want to do, what makes you tick. You can include terms like specialized, experienced, passionate, expert, or certified. However, just using these words won't convince people that you have these qualities. You will need to demonstrate them as well, both in the way you describe yourself and how you use LinkedIn profile features to show what you are about. But always you can stick to your job title if you want to. Yeah, that's up to you what you want to include, but try to make it something more than just your job title, and tell a bit more about yourself. Okay, turn your summary into your story. The first thing to say about your LinkedIn summary is make sure you have one. It is surprising how many people still leave this field blank when creating their LinkedIn profiles. Your summary is your chance to tell your own story. So don't just use it to list your skills or the job titles you had. Try to bring to life why those skills matter and the difference they can make to the people you work with. Don't be afraid to invest some time, try a few drafts, and run your summary past few people you know. This is your most personal piece of content you will have on your LinkedIn, and it is worth the effort. That should be your story, who you are, what you want to do with your life. Choice of the industry. As you already know, there's no industry for university students to select, so you have to make a choice. Think about what you enjoy doing, your passion, or the industry that you are interested in pursuing a career. You can always change this later. Location. As recruiters and other people who are looking to network on LinkedIn usually initially target people by geography and industry. You have to decide where you want to work. That city should be the one you select so that you can find a job there through LinkedIn. I think you get the picture about that. Change your URL to linkedin.com/in/your name. For every basic LinkedIn profile, they provide the URL with the numbers after it. In the edit profile section, you can cut this number off for a more easily memorable URL. Right. Okay. I'm not going to take you through each of the lists. Simple, and you have to do is fill out your details accurately and honestly. List any licenses, certification. Don't include your don't forget to include your volunteer experiences, like Leo experiences. Pick your interest, add media. LinkedIn allows you to add files, images, videos, articles, allowing you to create an excellent personal portfolio. So use all those features and update your LinkedIn profile. Skills and endorsement is an important section. Managing endorsements proactively. Endorsements from other members increase your credibility. Don't be afraid to reach out with a polite message asking for endorsement for a few key skills. Remember, the relevance matters. Reach out to people whose endorsements you would value. Also, go through your network and identify connections you feel genuinely deserve an endorsement from you. That often triggers for people to return the favor. The skills that you have added to the skill section of your profile are ranked according to the member endorsements that you have received from each of them. LinkedIn displays the top three skills based on the number of endorsements. So once endorsements start to come in, you might find that they might change the emphasis of your LinkedIn profile in a way that don't reflect who you are. Maybe you want to display some other skills. If so, reorder the skills. Be proactive in managing the endorsements using the edit feature in skills section of your profile. You can choose which to show and which to hide. Take a skill assessment. Skill assessment is an online test that enables you to demonstrate your skills and display a verified skills badge on your profile. Displaying the result of your skill assessment is entirely voluntary, and you can retake the test as often as you like before showing that you have passed. When I was doing my research to prepare this presentation some weeks back, I found that data shows that candidates with verified skills are around 30% more likely to be hired through LinkedIn. So if you have some free time, you may try it. Interact with your connections. LinkedIn is not just an online CV, it's a professional social network. It is always better to have an active role in your LinkedIn network, appearing in your connections LinkedIn feed in a way that adds value to them. Sharing relevant content with your network is one of the most accessible ways of doing it. You can make a start by keeping a close eye on your LinkedIn feed and sharing content that you find genuinely interesting and that aligns with your point of view. You can use the articles feature in LinkedIn to write blog posts. If you are interested in a particular area, you can write articles about it. Blogging is one of the best ways to establish your brand online. It gives you a space to talk about your passions, experience, and to share your expertise. During a recent chat with my mentor about what are the perks of LinkedIn networking, my mentor was telling me that when he sees engineers are blogging about certain technologies, and when there is an opening for that particular tech area, he prefers to take someone already connected via LinkedIn, whom he has seen sharing their thoughts, blog articles, than a stranger sending a CV for a job ad. You can give it a try if you aren't already blogging. Even if you aren't good at or passionate about writing, you can always reshare these articles related to an area that you are genuinely interested in and share your genuine opinions about it. Right. So do not forget to interact with your LinkedIn audience. Right. Moving on to the next point, grow your network. One of the easiest and yet most appropriate ways to grow your LinkedIn network is to sync your profile with your email address. This enables LinkedIn to suggest people you could connect with. Connect with alumni. Find your university's page and click alumni tab. You will see alumni and you can add connections whom you prefer to connect it with. Customize your connection request. Instead of using the generic I would like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn message. You can tell a request to remind the contact where you met or explain why you want to connect. They will be more likely to respond. Okay, that is it about some tips about LinkedIn. Uh, Good luck in landing the jobs that you're passionate about. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And we can have I'll stop sharing. We can have a discussion now. You can send in the chat if you have any questions, or you can unmute yourselves and ask me. So do not be afraid to ask questions. You can send messages privately to me as well. So use these features and ask questions if you have any. We have about 20 minutes. Mm. Okay. Okay. Right. Um, okay. What is the idea on cover letters? Okay. So I am not sure about other industries, but in IT industry, most of the time we are not looking into cover letters. Yeah. Is it a must to attach a photo on CV? Um, yeah. Uh, it is not a must, but you can attach a photo on your CV if you want and make sure it is not a selfie or it's not a fancy one. Attach a professional photo because in Sri Lanka, a lot of people add their photo to CV, so you can follow the same. But if you are applying for academic position or a job in another country, maybe to a company like Facebook, Google, they will not look for the photo. It is not relevant. Okay. Right. How do we find a proper CV format? Okay. Right. Okay. So proper CV format. It will depend from company to company actually. So you will have to research a bit and identify what is the format that will work. So here what I told as the format that is more generic. So say the relevant personal information, education, employment history, and if it is for if you are in the IT industry, then definitely the project experience, and then yeah, extracurricular activities, these awards that you have received, those kind of features that you can include. Um, we cannot say actually one format will work because different people are looking into different formats. But you must have the personal information, education, employment history, skills, and your other experiences and interest, those kind of sections in your CV. Um, okay, references. It is not a must to add your references in your CV, but you can include. Uh, Now the thing is, most likely they will ask you for a reference. To after the interviews, they will ask you to send references and they will contact your references when they are doing the background check. So at that time also you can give references. If not, you can include that to your CV as well. So we can uh, take it as optional. Okay, so again, to show a CV example also. Uh, it is not possible to show a CV example like this is the format that you have to stick to, because that will different from employer to employer and industry to industry. So you the structure, do a research and then arrange that accordingly, but make sure you do it in a proper way using the bullet point format and adequate spacing, right font, and without spelling mistakes, then it would be fine. Just do not use any fancy formats because and very fancy colors unless you are applying for some design position and it is required to design your CV, because otherwise it's really hard to scan your CV if you use fancy formats. It seems okay. Is there a maximum number of pages to have on CV? Yeah, do not make it more than 2 pages, but you do not have to limit your CV to 1 page. If you can, it's better, because in business positions, I think most of the time you will be able to, like, because you all are still are freshers or young professionals, right? So you should be able to limit your CV to 1 page, and it will be easy to read your CV as well. But for technical positions, maybe you want to add your project experiences and all, so then you can go for 2 pages. So technical CVs, like if you have a lot of project experiences and a lot of things to explain, do not try to uh, uh, write everything, put everything into 1 page, that then it will be hard to read. Go for 2 pages, but do not go for more than 2 pages. So for that, you can reduce and cut off unnecessary details and limit that to 2 pages. Yes, the CV, we should customize our CV as per the job we are applying for. That could be the same position, but when we are applying for multiple companies, we really should customize your CV every time. Say you apply as a, because the job descriptions, they differ from company to company, and you need to customize it using the keywords from the job description. And yeah, that is something you should do. So do not send same CV to all the companies. Make sure you read the description, you have a look at your CV, and you customize it every time before you sending your CV. Comes to referees, okay. When it comes to referees, what type of people should use as a fresh grad? Okay, so for a fresh grad, you can definitely go for one academic reference. So that could be lecturer, head of the department, or if you know the dean, maybe the dean. Uh, so you can go with the head of the department or a lecturer. So go for that. And then a non-academic reference. Uh, it seems we do not have any other questions. Um,
Being part of Leo Club of Wickramasinghepura, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Miss Dinuka Jayaweera, visiting and enlightening us with her knowledge. Today's session was full of knowledge and interesting things. It gave deep insights into the topic and also exposed some interesting facts. The points were Miss Dinuka told us about creating better resume and a LinkedIn profile were really informative. I am pretty sure the precious knowledge that Miss Dinuka gave us will definitely help us to achieve our career goals. Once again, I would like to thank Ms. Dinuka for taking out time from her busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge. Also, I would like to thank all the participants for participating today's webinar session. And I want to thank all the Wikipura Club members who really worked hard to make this project successful. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. Good luck all. Bye.